Nuknech! No, in all seriousness, hello and welcome to our April Fool's game, or at least being recorded on April Fool's. This is Star Trek Adventures Aegis, our 22nd century game, at least as far as the Earthers market. For Klingons, I believe this would be the year of Kalis 775. Um, or possibly a few years earlier. The the GM brain
You give
rot
me
is killing.
779.
779, correct, yes. Thank you. In any case, this is our Klingon one shot set in the same era as the Enterprise campaign. So, this is a time long before the events of Discovery, Strange New Worlds, the original series, and most definitely before our other tabletop session, Broken Sword. Feel free, for those that peruse the channel or that have been following Aegis, feel free to check them out. They are on another playlist on this channel, so just feel free to, at some point, go through the account and go through that. I may also drop a link to the playlist here in the description. In any case, yes, we are here to play a Klingon one-shot, so just a couple things for those at the top. Reminder to the players, as far as a house rule is concerned, the threat accumulated today is going to be independent of the threat for the rest of the campaign. So spend and use as you wish, and you may give the GM as much threat as you wish. It will not be coming back for the main Aegis campaign. I have logged down where my indicator was the last time, so it'll be going back with whatever remnant of threat was there, plus the new stuff at the start of the last session, for the start of the next session, rather. So, with that, I I see no reason for other immediate questions at this point. So let us introduce our crew, uh, starting with our new commanding officer, and let us go first with your log of battle as well.
Cool. Um, Log of Battle, Year of Kalas 779. Dohliril of House Mechlith. The House of Mechlith have always been gifted in producing daughters and sons, and every time our mothers and sisters have proven our worth, twice as strong, twice as sharp. I came upon the Uggis to prove this once more, to seek, as all Klingon warriors do, glory, honor, battle. Instead, what I have found is mere gnawing of clean bones. Batan was a warrior, I can give him that, but a simple-minded fool. When it came to big decisions, he immediately revealed the eyes of a Grishna cat and hesitated before choosing a simple, foolish answer, never thinking of the greater glory to be had. My house had forged my house had forged blades of warriors, and we had come to understand that true glory comes to those who are patient, that make use of tools and resources available to him, while idiot men like Batan would rather see flashy lights and fire than true glory. Enough of the crew agree with me. The time finally came once more once more as our warship picked at the smallest of prey, an automated barge. It all, the only boon to it was some sort of scaled creature offering opportunities of plenty if we spared his life. While we have all heard the baying of weaklings, even this was too complicated for our former captain. As right, I challenged him. At least he gave a good fight to at least earned him to join Stovacor. With my mother's dagger through his chest, I got to see once more the eyes of Grishnar cat, unsure whether he should die or not. I helped make that decision for him. The captain's throne is mine. Even if this scaled creature produces nothing of value in the end, I can expect that the regional admiral and my own crew appreciate the better warrior in his worthless place. There's glory and boons out there in the stars, and I plan to find it. Glory to the Empire.
Glory to the Empire indeed. It is in this situation where, after having disposed of your original captain, Bartan, or Bartak, oh, go back and check that pronunciation. I believe, yes, you had it right there. Apologies there. So, after having disposed of Captain Bartan, you at least have given him maybe we'll say there's some uncertainty. Perhaps you have given him the warrior's rest that he deserves at Grave and Stavokor, but just as easily it could be the frightened, half unaware expression of that animal. But you have now gloriously assumed command and well, I suppose. Sorry, the gems momentarily lost their train of thought. Would you like to set this immediately after your victory and the chance for you to announce among the crew, or would you prefer that some time has already passed?
I wouldn't mind him literally just we start just as his corpse drops to the floor and me cleaning off my duck tog.
Gotcha. So, the captain lies dead at your feet. The heated argument that you had been in having rapidly ascended into honorable combat, and sure enough, he is felled by your blade. You take a moment to breathe in and out, and
Then
just
I howl in victory.
yep. His eyes open, the corpse beneath you, and the warrior's spirit passing on to Stovokor. Uh, you being set in his we'll say this is being set in his own like sort of whatever ready room equivalent he has. You have this fight has been a deeply personal one for you. So the question is, how do you prefer to go about announcing this?
Well, I would have made a good show of it. So even if it was personal and there was no crowd, I certainly would have had communications open for people to hear. And it was already over before anybody would show up to see it themselves.
Okay. So with that line still open, what are the first words you would speak as captain?
The fool Batan has died an honorable death. I now claim the captain chair, and I hope no one else is foolish enough to stand in my way before I get there. And I'm just going to
Walk to the bridge.
ready dagger in one hand, a disruptor in the other, as I just slam my wrist against the door key and just storm my way to the bridge.
All right. We will say, for our purposes here, that a good portion of the senior staff have already been assembled, as well as other sort of crew of the Imperial Klingon ship Aegis, thus taking us to the bridge here. The door opens before you, and you find yourselves among the members of the crew. You see the captain's third officer and sensors operator, Patel, best known as Patel the Patak, Shirach, the daughter of Tektor, and Dachnech, the ship's medical officer. Near the front, you see manning his usual post at helm is Honor, the ship's helm officer, who stands up and taps his hand to his chest before giving a proper salute. Glory! Glory to Captain Lorel! Glory to the Empire!
There's a wide, toothy grin, and it looks to the other, waiting for like perhaps a moment, and then just taking one solid step as the other towards the captain's seat.
Yeah. As the new captain assumes her post on the bridge, let me ask first, like, for each of you, give us a little bit of flavoring for the character, a slight bit of the look, of their demeanor, and how they are reacting to this news. And let us go in that order. Patel the Patach, tell us, how is your reaction to this?
I picture Patel the Patach as being like where our normal friendly Patel that we all know is sort of nervous and shy and quiet. Patel the Patach has the same like sort of squirreliness about him. Like he's wiry and maybe hunched over and sort of a little bit not like goblinish or anything, but definitely a little bit more nefarious. Uh, Borderline dishonorable. Some might question his honor, which is why he has this nickname. But he is also ever the opportunist, and so he'll turn around and put one arm up to his shoulder and the clenched fist salute, and hail the new captain.
Okay. You will certainly pass by Patel on your right flank, but to your left is the ship's weapon officer, a certainly fearsome warrior by the name of Shirach. Tell me, Craig, give us that same insight into the weapons officer.
Uh, Shirach is she's standing at a weapons console. She looks perturbed, a little bored, frustrated. It's like, oh, just I'm gonna have to clean up that mess in the captain's quarters, aren't I? That kind of look. She'll slowly and a little bit unenthusiastically put her hand to her shoulder and salute. Hail, Captain Lorel.
She will stop in front of you and look you straight in the eyes with bared teeth, because that is almost a sign of disrespect right there. What's going on, man? Do you have a problem, Lieutenant?
If I'd have a problem, I'd voice it.
She will definitely just continue on her way. The captain, certainly on the lower end of heights when it comes to Klingons, but she has a sort of bright auburn hair that could almost, in the right light, looks almost like it's been dyed in blood, with more nape toward the back so that her unruly hair can be more not in the way. Definitely wears the full on battle uniform. Has earrings on her ears and just pointed, burning yellow eyes that just watch. And careful.
Indeed, indeed. And then, of course, skulking about in the corner here, for those that are still currently on for those that are on the bridge at the start of this scene, would be Dachnech. Tell us, Ben, a little bit about how you carry this warrior.
Duckneck is kind of... He's scruffy looking. He doesn't have the full battle armor that the others have. What he's got instead is kind of a vest with a bunch of pockets and satchels and little bits and pieces sticking out. He's kind of a little hunched over. Yeah, hair's fairly slick, but the rest of him's not very well kempt. He's kind of slouched forward, and he'll say, "Do you want me to take care of the body, Captain?"
She doesn't even look to you, just waves a hand of like, just do it.
Understood. And he'll go over to the body and like check for pulse and things like that, and then also start rifling through pockets while he's...
As you, this will take you out of the bridge, so as you head that way, the door opens, and from beyond, her ridges slight and well concealed by her hair, another presence joins the bridge, specifically Alesh of the House Romoch. Tell us, Brian, how does Alesh carry herself, and her entry into the bridge, how would you describe it?
Actually, I think Brian's still missing. He AFK'd.
Oh, that is my mistake. Then we will say the engineer enters the bridge, but we'll leave that entry here for just a moment. Dachnech, for your part, you do find the captain had an errant disruptor and maybe a pad that had access to a loose balance of some spare Darsex, the Imperial Klingon currency of the era. So that'll something slightly helpful. I don't know how much of an advantage it will confer to you later, but always helpful to have around. In any case, yes, Captain, you assume your station, and as you do so, Connor begins to turn back to his station. Captain, shall I report your victory and transfer of command?
Just nods, kind of waits a moment, and to see if anybody is going to be a. I guess Romulans don't exist yet, right? We don't know they exist.
There have been errant skirmishes with an unknown force in what would be a kind of more galactic northeast era, or skirmishes, at least as you how the Empire would prefer to think of them.
And then how about Suliban? There we go. Same diff. She'll just look around, waiting for like someone to act like a Suliban, especially Eyes Patel. She'll raise a hand at Colt and say, I have claimed this seat as right to bring glory to the ship and its crew. If anyone wishes to defy such right or feel they are in better position to do so, I am more than waiting, she says with like a wide grin. And if there is no responses, she'll then just relax and just nod. Or relax on the chair like a flop and just nod. See to it that the regional admiral is notified that there is a better captain amongst his fleet.
I shall tell them precisely that. Glory, my Chuckly. All right. So, as Knoch continues his, Knoch is going to take just a few moments to conduct his little task here, just to send off that information, and is there anything anyone particularly wants to do in just the brief moments whilst that takes place? Oh, Brian, is that you? You're back?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, I had a family member show up. I had to give him some stuff.
Fair enough. Well, as just to give you a sense of where we are, the captain has claimed command. As Dachne has gone to tend to the body, we've given you the chance to, after hearing the announcement that the captain has taken over, you are allowed the moment to come on, storm onto the bridge and react. Whether you are doing so as a friendly face here to salute the captain, or perhaps enraged for whatever reason, then that is your prerogative. But
okay, thought bubble is, look, this is the Klingon Empire. This is Tuesday. You know, it's Tuesday in the Klingon Empire. But there are protocols one follows. So she will look at the new captain and go, "May glory and honor pave the future of your path in the chair."
As to you, thank you.
And out of character, so her thing is House Roma is noted for their long service in the Imperial Navy, especially as engineers. So it's sort of a legacy thing within the house. So, you know, having someone from her house on the ship is, is a good thing. Brings a little honor to the ship.
Copy that.
I will say the House of Mechlith are used to be blacksmiths and still are to in their own degree, though they are also warriors.
This is a time where increasingly everybody is pursuing the warrior trade to an extent, or large numbers of the houses are doing so. Kind of that initial decline in what's its face, the Empire's kind of broader culture in favor of the warrior obsession, or it's getting worse is basically the trend. So, Captain, you are aware of this, and you are aware of the mission, but you think perhaps at least you have a moment to enjoy yourself before you can indulge in the truly glorious battle. However, mere moments after Alesh has proclaimed her loyalty to you, and that gives you the assurance that what little is left of the crew, save for that one unknown element, is certain to join. Konoch reports from his station at the helm. Captain, receiving a transmission from command. Our local admiral is opening a channel.
Then bring it on screen, then.
On the visual ahead, you see the face of an old but very well-kempt and well-armored Klingon. His is a face wearied and grizzled by numerous years of battle, hardship, and patrol out in space. This is a man who definitely seems to carry himself as one of a high station, but also one who comes across as a battle-hardened villain, or rather, veteran. He has earned his post here.
Slip of the tongue there.
Slip of the tongue.
Ajish, I would have words with your commanding officer.
Look, Nick, what do you want, sir?
What upstart are you?
I am Lorel, daughter of Valkyris, House of Mechlith.
And where is Captain Bachtan?
The fool is dead.
You will come to regret that. if this is any treachery on your part or those of your crew. Speak these next words carefully. What became of him? By what fate did he meet his death?
Through honorable combat, as was given, as was taken. I am no Suliban. I take pride in the warriors. And while he may have been a fool, he died like a warrior.
You dare insult the legacy of his memory and of his command. Whether you took his life in honorable combat or not, you have taken something far more from me. Captain Bagtan is of House Atrem. I am I am Admiral Kodrak of House Atrem. You have slain my son and sided against my house in battle today. I do not forget, and I do not forgive.
Then you would be one more fool to that family, and that family will honor me by your death, sir.
Not before I direct every ship under my command to come for you. The Empire will not object to the words of an admiral, nor would the High Council stop me. Indeed, naught but death itself will stop me and my fleet. No port shall be safe for you. Not without a truly valorous deed can you hope to escape your fate and perhaps have the appeal of the High Council. And believe me, the only deed I will see you committed to is your imminent battle and death against me.
Kalis, too, had fools bark and bay before him. I am no coward when it comes to the preaching and barks of Grishna cats. Come if you wish. They can all die in dishonor if they so like. If they fall fools like you. She'll just make a gesture of her throat, cutting off the signal.
Kanoch will cut off the signal and the visual will disappear with Admiral Kodrak of the House Atrem, who is also commander of most of the local squadron, which means at least a dozen ships that would be nearby, and an overmatch in combined arms that would be far beyond what you would overcome. It's a guaranteed glorious death, but it is also tactically, all of you would know well, it is a death sentence. And it is also not without precedent in the Empire. Some officers are wont to carry out blood feuds, and it is an increasingly common thing for those things to happen without even the proper oversight of the Empire.
I start checking that the disruptors are ready for battle.
I will go to engineering and prepare the ship for battle.
How far are we to more friendlier allies and not weak-willed fools? She says, looking over at Vitel.
How far are we? It's a good question, Captain.
I'll tell you what, as a first momentum roll of the session, give me, let's call this a reason and security roll. I suppose I would allow science if you want to make this a scan on the off chance of any ships that are nearby.
I mean, I'd prefer to give you science if that makes more sense, so I will do that.
That is
if you're letting me.
perfectly acceptable. Okay, and that is 2 successes for the first roll of the game here. That will grant you 1 additional momentum, which I suppose I should have switched over the tokens to the Klingon variant, but I figured it better to keep simple. Who would like to be the designated momentum officer today?
I'll do it.
All right, there you go. Your indications of any sort of friendly presence are quite bleak. The Ajish is out on long range patrol in what is effectively the far west of the Empire's reach. You are probably several weeks out from the Ganalda colony where a station is being built, and of the ships around here, they are all a part of the local squadron, so they would fall under the command of Kodruk here, and would thus be presumed hostile. Um, Beyond the anything that doesn't take you into a ship from the squadron likely means going out into open space and out towards the Empire, or well, out beyond the Empire's reach. So,
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, I pass all that along.
Yep.
Hmm. A little early that I'd like, but there is nothing but dried up bones and cowards, an infestation of them in this sector. Make a course. Let's find our bounty and glory in places that not even the Empire dares. Set a
Yep.
course.
Yes, sir. As you think of that bounty that awaits you, you are called to mind of or rather, it comes to mind of the prisoner that you have taken recently from the barge, whose story proved most enticing and potentially glorious opportunity.
It could also be a whole bunch of hooey, but yeah. It
You
was just
don't
a
have
good
a lot of
excuse.
other options.
Yeah, it was a good excuse to get rid of the captain. Shira,
Yes,
tactical
Captain.
officer, where is that baying prey that we've gotten from that scowl?
Manacled in the brig.
Then come with me as we get a bit more conversation out of him.
Very well, Captain.
Patel, you're with me as well.
Yes, Captain.
All right.
She'll just
To the brig, where all my
off her
characters
seat.
start.
Huh?
To the brig, where all my characters start.
That's where your characters live.
And whose fault is that?
I don't know. That's a good question. All right. Yep, she'll just hop to her feet and make her way.
All right. So, the three of you traverse the tight, harsh, metallic halls of the bird of prey that you occupy. The Ajish is built in the mid 22nd century tradition of that vessel, so it is festooned with guns with a large port for the bridge and bridge command functions and the torpedoes, with a narrow neck that moves into a bulky engine compartment and the handful of what Klingons would consider amenities. There are also, of course, small wings that extend out with supplemental well, I think the primary disruptors on their side. There is also a supplemental disruptor bank, or rather disruptor cannons that are mounted to the underbelly of the ship to give it just that much more armament. between that, its deflector shields and photon torpedoes, the Ajish is indeed quite a powerful craft. Certainly more so than most foes it would encounter. But alas, against a large Klingon fleet, you are likely to be evenly matched even by one of those ships, and potentially worse odds with more of them. It is in this circumstance that you recognize guile and a deed of great valor may be the best way to proceed, and that is what takes you into the cramped brig compartment where the three of you stand, with another guard presently on watch, bored out of his mind, but quick to stand and salute you, Captain, as you enter the cell. In the background, in the brig itself, presently chained and behind whatever bars or barricading that they would have in the ship, stands a reptilian creature, which I will leave that, Felix, to you to describe.
Well, I think the key word here is massive. It's well over 2 meters tall. Its weight is like 1.5 Klingons. Grayish scales, just pupilless eyes that you're never sure if they're actually looking at you. Big sharp teeth and constant grin or grimace, depending on your the current mood, I suppose. And he's wearing what I suppose is like, interesting enough, like similar to Klingon armor, like very warrior-like. Oh no, it's probably more what once was the garb of a warrior. It has been worn down by months of hard labor. And yeah, he's standing there in the cell.
Yep. It is not a comfortable. It is not a comfortable height to stand at. Indeed, nowhere on this ship do you feel like you could walk without needing to crane your head or hunch forward. These Klingons are small, worm-like, and they build their ships to suit them. Nonetheless, they seem to have an interest as warriors, and they may be of some interest. They may be somewhat receptive to your needs as well as you to theirs. So it is at that point that that you see three of these smaller beings step into the brig. Beyond whatever sort of barrier is used to keep you at bay.
Alesh is going to join the scene too on the way to engineering.
All right, sure.
Not sure you're going to get much conversation with this one, Captain. Gorn aren't particularly intelligent. That said, if we want, there's enough meat on them to feed the crew for quite a while.
Certainly.
Can come in here and try, little man.
The beast speaks.
He has before. So tell me, Cyril, wasn't it?
Yes.
Begged our former captain, the fool that he was, of a prize, a boon that could perhaps interest us. What would I even mind when it comes to such things, especially from a mere little worm tucked away in a automated barge?
My life for information was the deal.
Make it more tempting. Or perhaps, certainly, sure, I can get quite voracious, as it were. It's hard when it comes to rationing.
As tempting as that sounds, Klingon meat is too chewy. The Tolians have a base somewhere in the area. Don't know where we are right now. They're digging for something.
They're always digging for something.
Yes. But there's something to be found. Something that is neither Tolian nor of any other species I know of.
Are you saying this is archaeotech?
It's like turns the head to you, but as there are no pupils to focus, it's weird. I don't know. I wasn't in a position to leisurely peruse.
You were their captive and slave labor?
Yes.
Captain, I think this individual is more skilled than we have assumed. If you could give us the planetary data, we might be able to get an idea of what is there. But you are saying the Tholians employed slaves to dig up an artifact.
Yes.
The Tholians wouldn't launch an operation like that, Captain, without good reason. There must be something.
She just gives you like a very critical eye of like you're talking too much, and certainly it's not very nice. Know your place.
Looks back at you because she's helping you assess the situation.
Yeah.
So you don't get a back down or she's gonna shut the hell up look, because well, she's a Klingon from House
Yeah.
Rogue. This is possibly interesting.
Tell. What do you know of Tholians in this area?
Patel's hunched over, tapping away notes at like a little tablet. Not much about Tholian in this area specifically, but Tholians are known to be flighty.
Might be fun. Very well. It might be a bit of technology, weapons, some bounty to give to the Empire, gain more allies out of, and certainly putting the Tholians in their corner again would be a nice add to this ship.
I have a question. What is the status of Tholians right now? Have they been in conflict with the Empire at any point recently?
And we're all in conflict with everybody. We're the Klingons.
And I think the Tholian status is generally xenophobic as shit.
Yeah.
They are.
I guess my question is, how successful has the Empire been against the Tholians?
Well, in terms of confronting the Tholians, the Empire has not had much contact with them. What anyone who knows anyone about the Tholians would be is that, yes, they're definitely absolute xenophobes, but they're also very... The logic behind their moves in terms of interstellar polities is so opaque or alien that you aren't sure precisely what motivates their territorial ambitions. They typically tend to annex star systems that, by any conventional measure or usual measure that the Empire or other sentients engage in, There's not a logic to it that you perceive in quite the same way. So the Empire has not actually had a lot of confrontations with them. They've not moved into Imperial territory proper. The skirmishes, or rather the battles that have been fought, are mostly isolated skirmishes by long-range patrolling and recon vessels, essentially. There might have been one or two instances where the where large-scale fleets engaged with the Tholians, and they've been known to use strange asymmetric tactics. They use a lot of smaller ships, and those vessels tend to create sort of energy webs. They also have very unusual weapon systems at their disposal. Um, but as it stands in this day and age, I would not expect there's actually been any major conduct or contact between the Empire and the Tholians. They've never
In those
risen to the state of war, necessarily.
in those encounters, how did the Klingon Empire fare against their unusual weaponry and ships?
No, I think that might honestly be a good chance for everyone to roll a bit of security on this, or give you guys a chance for a bit more momentum. Just a reason and security roll.
Yeah, recent security.
Yeah.
Listen,
Alternative.
I'll get an extra die by giving you a point of threat.
I will accept the threat.
Can I negotiate for command and from more strategic perspective of things?
Yes,
Broad.
I would allow for that.
Cool. Get a threat as a get bold command.
I'm taking a threat as well.
The GM accepts your threat, and let's see. It looks like I will be Shirach and let's see. Shirach and Alesh managed to tie up in terms of their roles. Sharp, well, actually, yeah, Sharp also tied. So I'll tell you what. To be kind, I will give 2 momentum. Since that was the general exceeding of the roll, I will also grant 1 bonus just to reflect the. I will grant 1 bonus to reflect that the crew has done as well as they. Well, actually 2, since you're only down to the 1 momentum right now. So let me just dump that here.
And my role was targeting what is their military capacity in terms of their ships and how they have fared, meaning her interest would be how is this enemy different from other enemies?
Yeah. One-on-one, I would say that your bird of prey would be an easy match for a Tholian ship. You just don't want them to be able to conjure their unusual energy fields that might risk trapping your ship in the um, within their web. The ground like space engagements are pretty much all that the Empire has fought against them. It's believed that they have very unique requirements. Sorrel, for your part, you would actually, I will go ahead and give you for free that you know that the Tholians, while they have certain parts of their outposts that are pressurized or like acclimatized to their particular atmospheric needs, they have actually started using very bulky encounter suits in order to allow them to walk about and enforce their will with the prisoners, as it were.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are comparably. I will give you that most Tholian ships that the Empire has encountered, they are about a scale lower than you, and they tend towards they like what they don't have as much punch with their weaponry compared to you, though it is capable of creating like some dampening style damage. They use a tetrion-based weapon. Uh, the they are capable of generating either enveloping energy fields or large fixed barriers that can either make it difficult to traverse areas or otherwise trap a vessel if you are seen ahead of time.
How would you like to to get revenge on your former captors? Might even be a bit of bounty and glory for you. At the very least, you get to see them squeal as they cool down and freeze.
I would enjoy their deaths.
Excellent. I'll ask Shira, make sure that our new guest knows how best to serve this ship and that not to get in the way of certain areas. I'm sure there might be a few helpful ways of ensuring such things. I.e., is there a shot color or something you can make, Galesh? Something to keep them out of more vital areas.
That was for me?
Yeah.
Yes, I can make something like that.
Excellent. Shira, how about you be a nice guide for our new friend? And don't, she puts a talon finger at you, don't eat him, at least for a month.
Very well. Lucky day, Cyril. Get to go for a walk. I'll start undoing the manacles. Alesh, would you let me know when you've got his collar sorted?
I'll go to engineering to fabricate it now.
Okay, so with that, I will, in a moment, Alesh, I will I will ask for a task from you in order to basically jury rig components from a pain stick for this. I think would be the most appropriate way to go about it.
Okay.
But the next question I have is broadly out to the group. Would anybody have scenes that they want to do as we get things set up?
Yeah, I would like to borrow Patel for a moment.
Me, Captain. He looks around as if you're speaking to somebody else.
Yes, you scoundreling fool.
Okay, let's do a slight change of scene here. I'm going to drop you in the corridor. You are walking elsewhere through the ship at this point, and we'll move.
I'm heading back to the Gavin's quarters just to see what my new digs.
Yep. So we'll set you here in the captain, or like in the corridor on your way to the captain's quarters, with Patel in tow.
What could you tell me of the former captain's house? How much of idiots are they?
Well, they may be idiots, but they are quite powerful. I assume.
Yeah, I mean, House Atrim is definitely they're not a major house, but they have ties with several houses. I think that you might have heard at times him mentioning, or the previous captain mentioning, the occasional encounter with, say, House de Gore and even those in the Durash.
They overcame many enemies within the Empire. Devor, Duras.
That weak-willed house, Doros. They're not going to get very high amongst the council. What do you know of the captain's father? How shrewd is he? I am sure you know quite well of a lot of people here. You seem to have your gaze upon everyone's back.
I don't know what would give you that impression, Captain. And
I'm sure.
he grins in a way that you're not really sure if he's in on the joke or not.
She just grins a predatory grin back, I'm sure. Then entertain my question with your own guesses.
As to the captain's father, well, I have never interacted with him personally, and the captain was never one to share his thoughts on his own family with me. I would say that, from what I understand, the admiral is a man of honor, for better or worse.
Hmm.
A warrior whose sense of honor can sometimes blind them to the realities.
And that can be his downfall. That already is going to be his downfall. Whether I'm the one to do it or not. Are there any other things that Vatan has been shy to enlighten the rest of his crew?
GM, can I make stuff up here, or are there things that I should be knowing?
I will let you play liberties here. We didn't talk about this, and I didn't go so far as to think about or as to give you anything for this. So go right ahead.
So I can invent some liabilities for this character, basically, is what I'm thinking.
Precisely. I mean, you could even Patel could even tell outright lies if he so wishes about his former captain.
Yeah, I'm rolling insight, by the way. I don't trust you as far as I can throw you or stab you,
Yeah.
which is right now pretty damn close.
But you could throw him very far, so...
Also, a quick hello there to the captain of the Broken Sword, Balak Lestrange. Hey there in chat. Don't worry, he hasn't spent for anything. Just, we're having polite conversation right now. Everything's fine. Continue your, say what you wish, Patel.
Could you restate the question for me real quick, Captain? Out of character.
Yeah. Has there anything that the captain has not mentioned to the rest of the crew that I should be aware of?
Well, and his
She
eyes.
just about to start. She just says, "Be very careful with your next words, Patel. You are useful, and certainly I entertain usefulness. But I am not as forgiving as Baton was, nor blind," she says with a scowl.
Patel's eyes dart up and down the corridor just to verify that we're the only ones down in the bowels of the ship right now. Nobody else is in hearing distance, but nevertheless, he approaches and sort of quietly and conspiratorially Says, well, there is the matter of the captain's indiscretions that I don't believe the admiral is aware of.
When you get closer, by the way, her hand just gently but firmly rests on her belt hug, but listens.
He notices and like nods at the gesture. You see, the captain was very fond of a certain bar patron at our last port of call, and as a result, we made many trips back there. And I don't believe the admiral knows of this or of the captain's progeny.
She waits.
That's all I got, Captain.
I'm gonna insight him anyways.
Okay.
I don't fucking trust you.
What's this opposed by? The same thing, right?
This would be the captain's insight and command versus your presence and command.
Oh boy.
Gambling or aggressive diplomacy?
I think aggressive diplomacy might work in your favor. Also, Patel, if you wish to apply a different focus here, then I am open, or rather a different discipline. I'm open to argumentation.
I think presence probably makes the most sense. Insight might be a little bit better, just because I think it's he recognizes that the captain is looking. She's angling for something, and Patel wants to be the one to give her some sort of tidbit, and like tell her what she wants to hear.
It's a compelling argument on the attribute end, but I do agree. I think that presence is more, well, that might be more applicable. Let's see here.
I do have a value that I'm planning on tapping, if that's for determination, if that matters in the decision.
I think I will. That being the case, I will have a stick to the presence attribute.
Okay. So if I tap my value, knowledge is power, I think that would make sense here, right?
That would work.
And what does that do for me again when I can do that?
So you may elect to either you can use in the context of this task here, you could use that to buy an additional D20, or like basically an automatic critical success. So on top of whatever you roll, you get automatically 2 successes. You can elect to reserve it and wait to basically see how your dice roll goes here and then go from there. Or like if you get complications or anything, then you may re-roll, basically.
Okay. I'll also take 2, or I'll take a momentum 2 to get an extra die.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, I'll wait and see how I roll, and then we'll figure it out. But yes, I'm getting rid of the complication. Actually, no, I'm going to keep the complication, but I am going to get 2 critical successes.
All right, so that is 3 successes and a complication. Would you prefer that to be a narrative complication, or would you prefer to give the GM threat?
Narrative, please.
Very well.
I'm going to I'm going to pull the rest of the crew and give you a threat to get 3 dice. And then, yeah, there we go. 2.
So that is 2 successes. Loril is going to be able to read you, Patel. So would you say that he is at least intending to be honest here?
I think so. There's probably the intent in his mind is that yes, he has heard this thing. He's maybe overplaying its importance. or overplaying how much he knows about this, which in this case isn't very much. Maybe he's filling in the blanks. Maybe there is no bastard son of the captain, but there's a kernel of truth in there.
Okay. Let's see. As the complication, let's see. The thing is, I feel like this is more of an interpersonal related encounter, so I feel like the complication may actually be best decided between the two of you here, because I wouldn't say that. I don't feel like it would be right to impose and say, Patel might be intending to be honest, but he really like he comes across as like excessively slimy or something. I wouldn't impose that from the top down. Um, I'm open to thoughts amongst yourselves. Perhaps something in how Lorel perceives it, or maybe it seems like Patel is fishing in some way for the captain's favor.
I think that would probably be pretty clear. Like, for the way that I would see it is that what I said rings as true for you, but the way that I do it, and this entire like being an information peddler scheme that Patel is trying to do is very un-Klingon.
Oh yeah.
And you may want to give me a reminder of that.
She will just nod, grin, and then just like shoulder check you into your solar plexus against the wall and have the dot tog against your neck. I am no Duras, and you give me pithy bastard son rumors. Is there any pink blood in you, Patel?
The hot pink blood is trickling down my brow from where my head hit the bulkhead.
Yeah.
You can see for yourself. And he nods up to his own forehead. You know what I'm saying is true.
Seems a bit thin these days.
Patel, okay, I'm trying not to play him as too creepy, but he dabs the blood with his finger and licks at it. No, seems Klingon enough to me, Captain.
I'd say that's par for the course for a Klingon.
No, that's par for the course. You're a Klingon, yeah. It'd be creepy for a human, but it's not for a Klingon.
Now imagine actual Patel doing that.
Yeah, she just scowls. Do your job and find me some use in you for this position. I'm sure there are more than a few of the crew who would more than glad to take your seat.
Are you still pinning me against the bulkhead, or have
Yeah.
you let me go?
Oh yeah, no.
As
Are you fighting or are you flirting? As
you wish, Captain.
There's just a squint and then just lets you go. Get out of my sight.
He raises up his fist to his shoulder and gives you a kapla. But it doesn't come across as super honest from him, I think, regardless of what situation it's in.
Oh yeah. Just let you go. That was it. That was my scene.
Scurries down
just
the
want to
hallway.
make sure what the fuck, what kind of dirt you scoundrel bastard. And then
I'm picturing he's scurrying down the hallway, and like when you turn to leave or whatever, we see the camera just like Patel is shooting a look back over his shoulder at you as you walk away.
Yeah.
And a devious grin.
Perfection. Okay, elsewhere, would anyone else want a scene here? Dachnech, Shirach, Saral, before we have the one other roll with Alesh. Hearing none, I guess we will cut ahead a little bit, and just because of the relative time to go into this, I'm going to just ask Alesh give me a difficulty 4 control and engineering roll in order to put together a jury-rigged this jury-rigged pain stick base
Well,
necklace, basically.
She also wants to ask him some questions. So in terms of said requested scenes, I want to role play with them a little bit while I'm doing this.
Okay, I will place us back in the theater of the mind as you are at work in the.
I'll take him to a workroom adjacent to engineering.
Yes, the reactor, near the reactor pit.
Yes.
I'll be there escorting, just in case, the beast goes crazy.
Keep him away from system-relevant systems. Brings him to the reactor.
Okay, so Shirach, with you in the background, keeping an eye on this Hadebach. Alesh works to devise this collar here. You may ask some questions, and at your leisure, give me one control and engineering roll, a difficulty of 4, and I am going to tell you in advance I am putting threat back into this to increase the complication range up to 3.
For building this thing?
Yes.
Has he been medically scanned yet?
I'm sure.
I'm looking at those medical scans to attempt to reduce the complication. Can I make a design roll beforehand, so to speak, or use computers to help model it to reduce complication?
I'll tell you what, the ship will assist here, but
That's fine.
I'm not giving you anything freely to allow you to reduce the complication range when I have spent threat to do so.
Okay, fair enough. So as she begins modeling the device, she'll look over at him and go, "What did you do before you were a slave?"
I served on a ship.
In what capacity?
Doctor.
Doctor. Interesting. Do you have a broad knowledge of sciences as well?
No.
What about engineering?
What I need to get by. Are your people always this chatty?
I am, because we are going into battle together. You've proposed unleashing your revenge on an enemy. I wish to know who I will go into battle with and what their capacities are. That is what.
And why should that matter to me?
If you want this to be successful, it would be wise that we know what you can do.
If you treat me as a prisoner, and he kind of points to the collar you're making, I will act as one.
I am not treating you as a prisoner right now, but as another person who's served on a ship. You understand I am under orders. But I'm sure that you might be able to convince them to stop treating you as a prisoner. I will go ahead and make this. What do you want? Reason or control and engineering? What's the combo?
Control plus engineering, assisted by the ship's computers and medicine.
Okay.
And as a reminder, the complication range is presently at 3.
Could I apply electroplasma power systems on this, as this is a shock collar?
It doesn't run off that principle. It is a bit too small.
Okay. And how much momentum do we have?
I believe there should actually. Okay, yes. After the last roll, there are 5 points of momentum. You may also spend threat to buy additional dice.
I'll spend 2 momentum on this.
Are you
Okay.
looking to buy additional dice? Because
Yeah.
you would need a total of 3 to get 2 additional dice.
What do you guys want me to do? Grab threat or grab momentum? That's a party decision.
We got a chunk of momentum. You might as well spend
Okay.
it.
Yep.
So then I'm buying 2 momentum if you want to pull that off. And I don't think I have any applicable focuses. So here we go.
I'm not sure if I'm honored or insulted that you want this roll to succeed at all costs.
Hmm.
Don't worry, I got a complication.
Okay.
Nice.
The ship will.
Yes, it's called Thrall.
It's going to have a less capacity shock collar, so
Okay, let me see what the ship does. You did also roll a success there. I have it open and I can take care of that for you here. So that with the ship, that is just shy of what you would like. Do you wish to succeed at cost?
succeed at cost is what is the
You
is
can
the
either give the GM threat or accept an additional complication that would be narrative. As it is, I do have to ask the question: what would be the?
I'll give you a additional I'll give you an additional threat, but I'm also designing a controller that I can release too, meaning it's got a remote.
Very good. On the as far as the
You wanna keep
complication
that
that
as-
you rolled, as far as the complication you rolled there, Brian, would you prefer that be threat or narrative?
Let's make it narrative.
Okay.
And the she is building a remote control on it,
Gotcha.
and there you go.
The GM has noted this is a narrative complication, and I will treat it as reserved for now. In the meantime, I will take a point of threat for the succeed at cost here.
Okay,
So, as-
and that controller is tied to a Klingon communicator, so it could be released remotely, as far as a Klingon communicator will work, which seems to be about orbit to surface, right?
Right.
Okay. And I've got a lot of equipment and stuff out on the tables as I'm building this thing.
Yep. So.
And I am watching him watch me work.
I'm assuming I'm closely watched by various number of Klingons, so there's no really chance to do anything.
Yes, watching you, watching her, watching them, and all that we look upon. You may not know them, but you will feel their stare. God damn, I just pulled an Andrew Bird reference in a Klingon game.
I mean, I would say you've gone too far, but honestly, I don't think you have. Get correct with that every time.
Felix has different thresholds than the rest of the people we know. But
And-
he is played
yeah.
with.
I think we had 2 or 3 episodes of Gone Puns. It was a lot.
Yep. In any case.
Just don't get too gorny, as in corny.
uh,
Oh, that was bad. That was bad.
Rocks
It's
fall,
your fault.
everybody dies.
I'm
You're
taking
bad.
threat for that. God damn.
This happened the last time too.
Yes.
Okay. So with that, you have designed your you have fitted a shot collar to Thrall. And yeah,
I would say he's not bending down to make this easy, but I feel like he has to be bent down a little bit because it's just the room is too small.
yes.
As she clicks it on, she goes, "I will petition for this to be removed. You need to demonstrate yourself and your trustability to your new allies. This is the way.
Trust goes 2 ways.
I agree.
Very true. But we're not the ones with the shock collars around our necks.
Thrall is waiting for the irony to hit. Probably waiting a long time.
Okay, shock collar done.
Oh.
I suggest
Thank you, Alesh.
I look over at our security officer. I suggest we give him a data pad. As much as we can know about the facility that he was working in would allow me to analyze it from an point of view and give tactical data.
A good point. Come on, we'll take Q to the mess hall, I guess. That's big enough to hold you. You like living food, at least?
The fresher, the better.
We
Good.
got that.
Oh. At least the Gorn gets something right.
Are there any more of your people that were captured?
Yes.
You want them freed as well, probably as part of your deal.
It is too late for that.
Understood. We will speak again. I have spoken. She's done.
Every other line's a Mandalorian reference. Which I don't blame you.
It kind of works. So
It's a sin, though, doing that. Like
it is.
It's not a Gorn pun, so you're good.
Fair, yeah.
I already did that. I claimed that if I had been in the same elementary class with Felix, I would have caused a lot of trouble with him.
Yeah. So we're going to the mess hall, and I'm ordering a nice bowl of cornflakes.
Anyway,
I think
Beautiful.
can we fit shock collars to the players?
I cannot be stopped. I apologize for nothing.
So, some time elapses as the Ajish is at high warp, out on its new course for the bounty that the captain intends to seek.
Yes, Soral has told you, like, given you, I assume, like a rough layout of what I know, and the system, which is called the Vintag system.
Indeed. As you approach, I'm actually going to give you the opportunity to all take a scene on the bridge. Which, let's see, we'll move everyone back here. Shira, of course, well, the normal bridge officers are present as well. I'm looking out here. It would probably make sense to have Sral on the bridge as well. And I guess Alesh Dachnech, if you would like to be on as well, since
Is the ship ready for battle? I'd probably keep her in good condition.
Yeah,
so.
it's the default status of a Klingon ship is ready for battle.
That's what I figured. Fine, I go to the bridge.
Yeah. Dachnech, Sral, would you both also like to be on the bridge?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
I'll go to the bridge.
Yep. So let's see, just putting up that last token now. I need to actually edit that at some point. Okay, so yes, sometime later, after a bit of a haul at high warp, your bird of prey has arrived in interstellar space just shy of your target. And that is where we join the bridge crew with Connaught calling back Captain and saying, Chakwi, approaching the Vintox system. Shall I reduce speed?
Do so.
With that, he will pull you out of warp. The Ajish now are now standing at station keeping in interstellar space.
Patel, Shirach, give me tactical and other scans, assessments of the system.
Yes, Captain.
Okay. I will tell you what, this is going to be... So I'm going to ask you some questions before you conduct this scan. First off, whom would take lead on this?
I think as sensors officer, it would probably be me, right?
That would make the most sense, yes. But would you be trying to get a... Well, I'll tell you what. For just there is going to be kind of variable difficulty or varying thresholds for conducting scans of just the local system and the ships around here. The task will be reason and science assisted by the ship's sensors and security. And it will be a difficulty of 3 to do so. If you want a full sense of what's going on in the system here, it's going to be a difficulty 5 roll. And really, a full idea of what's going on would require you instead to take sensors and science instead. So, would you
for the ship you mean?
Yes.
I don't think with the momentum that we have that we can do. Although I mean, if I can get an assist from Shirach, maybe we can do 5 successes. I also get a reroll on one of them.
You don't have bold science? Wow.
No, but he did inherit technical expertise from Patel. Okay, so either way, I'm gonna spend 1 momentum because I can't spend 3. So that gives me 3 dice. Then I have the ship assisting. I have Shirach probably assisting, and I have a reroll. That should be fine. Let's do it. Reason science, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
That is 3 successes there. First I will allow the ship to assist. Did you elect to take sensors and science, or are we going...
Whichever one needed 5 successes. It was sensors
Okay.
and science, I think, right?
Yes. So somebody please roll for the ship.
I got it. I'm going to re-roll that one.
Yes, technical expertise does come into play.
Well,
Shira, I will allow an assist here from you as well with security and insight. It'll be, once again, a single D20 roll for that.
Okay.
So that does give you 4 successes. And that is at least enough to tell you a little bit here. I'll save you the trouble and say that this is all things that can be relayed by word of mouth and even by fancy displays that we don't have on that are being shown on the screen, but not like on the audience screen. So just use your imagination. As Patel sets up a display of the star system, or what was very much a former star system. It seems to have been a long dead neutron star, or would have been otherwise. It seems as though something very strange has been afoot here. There are the biggest feature of this system appears to be some sort of energy rift of some sort that is located near the center but extends out almost 2 astronomical units in diameter, so whatever the Klingon equivalent of that is. Basically, the distance from the Earth to the that's the distance from our Earth to the Sun. And it's basically from end to end. If Earth were on opposite parts of a star, that is the width of this unusual phenomena. Some sort of high energy rift of a sort, whose nature you cannot precisely discern. Um, Operating around that rift and at fairly far distances, you see signs of small patrol vessels in pairs. They appear to be Tholian in nature, a scale below your own. There is also an interesting sign of some sort of other energy reading, but it conforms to what previous ships have identified as not necessarily a hostile vessel, but more qualified as hunting material, cosmozoa of a sort, and something with a unique energy signature. Uh, I will also say, roughly at the center of the rift, through some interference, you are picking out what appears to be a fair-sized planetoid, kind of, and not exactly in the center of the rift, but like center above the rift, fairly close to it. It conforms with the coordinates of the asteroid base, basically, that Saral told you about, where the Tholians have kept, rather Saral, where they had kept the Gorn imprisoned and set to work mining for this mysterious bit of technology.
I put all of this up on the tactical display on the view screen, and just sort of remark to myself, the anomaly, 93 million calocams in diameter. And he's absorbed in the sensor reading.
What can you make of it?
Can I get any more information with the 1 momentum that we have?
I will allow you to spend that to obtain information, certainly. And do you still have,
Sure.
does your Klingon counterpart have Studious?
He still does, yes.
Then you will get 2 questions.
Hooray.
Goodbye, momentum.
My immediate question, and I'll give the second question to like the rest of the players to figure out. Can I tell if this anomaly is something that is being caused by the Tholians? Like, is it artificial in some way?
Well, based on what would have been mentioned at some point in the time that you've had Saral around, it's likely that the Tholians somehow induced this. There was mention that basically in the time Saral was kept prisoner, there were rumors among them that they might have heard chatter suggesting that some sort of device that was tri-cobalt in nature was detonated deep in the gravity well of the neutron star that was formerly at this site, and that something very unexpected happened, or rather something to do with this object here, which, given its relative position, if it had been in the system or been in its current place, during that time it would have been pulled in by the gravity well and annihilated, basically, or it would have been crushed, rended completely. So there's some unusual flux going on with the gravitational fields, for one thing. That's kind of the major. The short answer is yes, they seem to have done something, and it is messing with laws of physics in a pretty major way.
Any ideas for the second question?
Does it seem stable or have any gravimetric or gravity that could pull things in? Like how how dangerous is that thing in terms of for a ship?
This ship is not a science vessel. It is not built to answer those questions, and the near as Patel can determine, the energy is something that Klingon sensors are not able to classify. You probably don't want to fly into that even with your shields up. It would be a foolish death.
Dishonorable death.
There's just a slowly widening grin. Might make for some interesting fun. All right. She will look over to Saral. How well protected is that dig site? Cyril, yeah, Cyril. There's no O in there.
No, it's a lot of S.
Yeah.
um, I'm not sure how many are them in the base itself. They keep mostly to their climate control chambers.
Any defenses, ground based or otherwise?
Do I know of any?
About the only defense they have on the outpost, there are a handful of Tholians in encounter suits that basically keep a watch over the area. Otherwise, it would be, with an armed boarding party, you could probably get fairly far. The main issue is actually just the ships that defend the perimeter.
Yeah, I relay that.
Just the two?
Far as I know.
She looks at the rest of the crew. How far are those cowards behind us? Any sign?
None have entered our sensor range yet, Captain. Connor will call back to you.
Then let's create a party, shall we? Shira, Cyril, and she'll just kind of eye Patel, and you as well, Patel. The lot of you with a few more warriors will make your way to the camp. Will be beamed down to the camp while the Aegis plays a little bit of fun with the with any patrols that might come in your direction. Nah, actually, heck of it. Out of character. Redact that. We're going to make a bit of a boarding party and make our way to go take what is ours. And then if things come to a bit more fun, we might have a chance to come back and enjoy a bit of dueling with the Tholian picket ships. These things don't, out of character, these things don't have cloak, right? Cloaks don't exist yet for
Klingons
Klingons?
do not have cloaking devices for another century at the earliest.
All right.
So,
all right. So yeah,
the plan.
I think the plan is swooping in close to the planet that we were aiming for. Well, since these people are busy hunting cosmonoans, whatever the
Cosmozoa.
space whale, cosmozoa, space whales. We swoop in, raid, get back on the ship, and after getting the shit we want, and then getting the fuck out of here.
All right. So with that, then, Kanoth will say, "Glory to the Empire, glory to the Ajish, and glory to Captain Laurel." Just laying it on real thick.
Yep. You have your orders. I wish I knew more Klingon.
Am I on that away team? I didn't hear my
Yeah,
characters.
we're all gonna be on away team. Fuck this shit. We're gonna be
Yeah.
all away team because it's a one.
Right
time.
on.
Let's go for it.
All right.
Very good.
Kapla.
So, yes. Kapla! And with that, so just to understand, Kanoch is just going to take the Ajish directly in, and
We're gonna get as close to that planet as possible, out of warp. Or like we're gonna jump out of warp as close as possible to that planet, and then raid it with our ground crew as quickly as possible. Get the shit, kill a lot of Tholians, and then hop back on the ship and get the fuck out.
Fly me closer. I want to hit them with my buttlet.
Yep.
copy that. Okay. So, Kanoch is going to engage the ship's engines and take you into warp. It seems that as you begin to approach, the Tholians have actually, or in the moments where you set up, it seems as though the Tholians have slightly adjusted their deployment to where most of the patrol is actually off engaging the Cosmozoans, or appear to be attempting to do something with them. Only a small handful, 3 ships remain, and they are, as soon as they see you, they start consolidating. Alas, they are too slow to deal with you, or rather to intercept you before you can bypass their initial, before they are able to stop you. You have already passed them, coming in at high warp. So you will put yourself in orbit of the planetoid near the Great Energy Rift, and as you drop out of warp, you can see in full justice very nearly what Patel's sensors picked up. It is a grand, sort of yellowish orange gash in space and time that seems to have been carved, spreading out well beyond what your eyesight can make out from this distance, for it is just so all-encompassing, spreading from far out in one part of the system to another. At the very near, as you as you drop out of warp, you see one object that is denoted otherwise from the surroundings here, that of what appears to be a small asteroid. Konoch says, transporter team reports that they have the coordinates they have identified coordinates that coincides with Mr. Srawl's description. They can be ready to beam you down.
Excellent.
Well,
let's go have a bit of fun, shall we? She says with a grin.
So, yeah, the crew, you all head off now. Let me ask, are you going in with batleths and disruptors, or like disruptor rifles? Do you want the tonnage of an escalation cost?
Because of my talent that is called Warrior Spirit, I come with a mechlith automatically.
Very good.
They are Klingons. Is there even such a thing as escalation?
I'm totally bringing a disruptor rifle and body armor to this fight.
Yeah. And to answer your question, yes, there actually is. As a matter of fact, they still also take the same threat penalty to inflicting lethal injuries. There is actually a specific talent that you can equip yourself with that allows you to avoid that or paying that cost, essentially. So it is something that does actually need to be it does need to be selected in order to avoid that.
Well, guys, I did what I could for you.
All right. Now the other question here is going to be, um, are you allowing Saral to be armed, or is he just down to his claws?
I'm happy to give him a disruptor. Or would he like a Datleth?
He takes both.
Prove you don't need that collar.
He just stares at you, presumably, because again, no pupils.
All right, let's go. Let's add it. This is out of character. Let's.
I'm going to take a disruptor rifle and armor.
Okay.
I'll take some armor. I already have a McLeth and disruptor.
Okay, so just to make sure we are clear for everybody that everybody can take armor, and I believe that will add 2 resistance. Everybody should also have been given the Bracklul. I may not have put it on your sheet, Brian, just because of the timing here, but essentially you may all start with a base resistance of 3.
Nice.
Nice.
Yes, that is to reflect both that this reflects both that you are you have the body armor to defend yourselves. You also have the what is it? You also all have, with the exception of Sral, you have the Bracklol talent, which helps you resist lethal injury. It actually translates to 2 when you are dealing with a non-lethal injury, but we'll just account for that manually here. So you make your way down to the transporter room, everyone festooned with the appropriate gear. I'll allow actually one more roll, and Alesh, if you want to be the one to roll since you have the best engineering stats out of everyone, then I will allow that.
What is this roll for again?
It is control and engineering to roll for the ship so that you beam down. It is also assisted by the ship's structure and engineering.
Okay. And I'll try to pick a spot where it would be unlikely that they would spot us. Roll that into it.
I will say there is only a very narrow sort of set of areas that you can hide because of the Tholians carved out the bare minimum of what would support basically your type of life form.
Okay. So control and engineer, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And do you guys want me to spend? We're out of momentum. Looking over here, I didn't see any.
You are out of momentum, so it will have to be paid in threat if you want additional dice.
What's the difficulty on this?
The difficulty, since Sral has given you the location of their transporter pad, you can actually perform this with a difficulty of 2.
Okay.
Beaming from your pad to theirs.
Okay. Then that's
you could also spend your value if need be.
Getting us down there is kind of.
Oh no, this is off the key. Yeah, no, do what you
want. Let's see. Okay, so my Klingon equivalent, I guess, I think I can hit this without anything. I'll take 1 threat just because it's a Klingon game. And I'll just roll that.
Okay, that is 3 successes. The ship's structure and engineering will also assist you here.
Somebody rolling that, or you want me to roll it?
Go ahead and roll it if you wish.
I will. Structure and engineering, right?
Yes.
Okay. And it only gets 1 dice, right? And a focus.
A single die and a focus, yes, correct.
Sorry, that was without the focus. Let me. Oh, that is focus
Yeah.
used.
Well,
right.
you still meet and you gain back 1 point of momentum.
Yay! I got
Yay.
1 momentum now.
There you go. All right, so the transporters engage, and the 6 of you dematerialize from the pad and find yourselves in a cavernous structure with numerous crates and large machinery being moved around, and amongst them, in weird arachnid-like heavy bits of machinery, the sign of a few Tholians present, chattering in surprise. You are now entering combat, and as you have beamed in, the first turn will go to you now. So, who's taking the first action?
I would love to take the first action.
Go for it.
Oh, okay. So I've got a lovely disruptor rifle. So I'm going to take the aim minor action,
Copy
target
that.
the nearest Folian. I will buy an extra dice with threat. I still have the Deadeye Marksman talent from Chira's sheet, so that because I've taken a minor action, I can reduce the difficulty by 1 on this.
Okay,
So
all good.
that's a difficulty 1 shot,
Very good.
and it's a control security, right?
That is correct. Control
And
plus security with a difficulty of 1.
and I've got of course, handheld particle weapons as a focus. So roll.
This definitely applies as you roll 5 successes. You do honor to your forebearers today, Shira. The disruptor. You level your disruptor quickly, taking aim at which Tholian do you want to take aim at? Go ahead and designate your target. And also, is this
Who's closest to me? This guy right in front of me.
All right. You level your shot, and you level the rifle, lining up the sights easily and as effortlessly as it is to breathe. You squeeze the trigger and send a disruptor round. Would I be correct to presume this is set to kill, or rather your shot aims to kill the Tholian?
Do Klingon weapons even have a stun set in this?
They
thing's
do
set to
not.
Kill.
As I tell the crew of the Broken Sword, disruptors are either kill them now instantly or kill them slowly with like a bad wounding shot.
Ooh, nice. Well, this is set to kill now, please.
Yes, it really depends on how you are aiming and taking that. So go ahead and roll me damage for that disruptor rifle. That is a 1 and then 4 effects, which have the vicious 1 effect. So that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 points of damage. The encounter suit is going to resist 4 points, but they will still, that Tholian that you encounter still takes 5 points of damage, which means it takes an injury, and therefore it is a lethal one. Your disruptor goes straight through the headpiece, melting away the metal and melting in through to the innards. There's a rush of like hot vapor as the as the machinery and the inner crystalline structure shatters and atmosphere leaks out. It is a merciful death only insofar as they did not feel the sudden rush of atmosphere just completely change and cool themselves down to where they would instantly freeze and shatter. No, instead, the disruptor has completely just vaporized the interior of them, interacting with its crystalline structure in such a way as to spread the disruptor energy completely through it and vaporizing the Tholian's body into gas that streams out with the rest of the hot air from the encounter suit. The remaining machinery, as appropriate with any dead body in Klingon culture, is not but an empty shell that clatters to the ground.
Nice. Okay, so that's
That
4
is,
momentum we get from that. Yes.
that is correct.
Lovely. I would like, because I've got close protection talent, when I make a successful attack, I may spend 1 momentum to protect an ally within close range. The next attack against that ally before the start of my turn increases in a difficulty of 1. So I'll use that to help Alesh.
Yeah,
Okay. You
you're helping me out. Okay.
Any attack against Alesh will have an increased difficulty of 1
Aw,
for the next
thanks.
turn. There you go.
Buddies, even in this game.
yes, Fireforged friends. Very well. In that case, before I make the offer, just since you have a considerable bit of momentum, did you want to take the opportunity to keep the initiative and make another attack, or like anyone else among you, or would you prefer to let the Tholians take their first action?
I think we should maintain our momentum. So yeah, let's keep it on our side. It's 2 momentum, right? Or is it
Yep,
1?
so that'll be 2 out of the incoming 4 momentum that Shirach managed to develop.
So we'll keep the initiative then.
Yes.
Yep.
Cool. Who wants to go next then?
The captain will go next. She will draw a very ornate mek'leth, and charge in to the nearest one. This one. And so it's daring and security.
Yes, daring and security with a difficulty of, base difficulty of 1, but it is, of course, contested against the Tholian.
All right. I'm going to use warrior spirit by adding 1 threat, to add 1 more d20. And then I am going to also spend a momentum to add another d20.
Sorry, what was Warrior Spirit doing again? I just missed that there.
You are exemplar of what it means to be a Klingon warrior. You will not hesitate to demonstrate your prowess to any who challenge you. When you make a melee attack or targeted by a melee attack, you may buy 1 or more d20s. By adding a threat, you may re-roll the dice pool for the task. And you buy, when you make a remote, and you buy. Okay, I re-roll. All right, my bad. So yeah, I'll just add 1 momentum to, by 1 momentum to get 1 die, get a 3rd die. I don't get a 4th. I misread that thing. God damn it. Oh, well, I got a free necklace. That's all that matters. And I can re-roll it if I spend threat. So let me 3 dice. I have close quarters combat as a focus.
Okay. All right, so that is 2 successes right there.
Mm-hmm.
The Tholian will attempt to counter you, um, swaying its encased metallic limbs and engaging you in the melee. Oh, but it will fail. So let's see. Just to check, did you say that was a Batleth or a Mechleth?
It's a Mechlith. I don't have that as a thing.
Okay.
Would someone from House Mechleth use anything other than a Mechleth?
Fair point. All right. So then, that would be an attack, or that would be a damage roll with the Mechleth. Then go right ahead.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
that is 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9 with vicious 1. So 9 points of damage, once again ignored by the 4 points for the resistance suit, and your blade just I suppose one more clarification. Are we going for the lethal wound?
I'm aiming for the head. So whether or not I hit the head is all the way up to you. If it sliced through him, good. Not, I mean, just another push. Yes, I'm going for lethal.
I have exactly the idea. For while your security officer is lethally efficient and in that sense merciful to the Tholians, you show no compunction about showcasing the superior manufacturing of House Mechleth steel, and particularly the unique monomolecular material that was used for this particular Mechleth, one that you must be very careful in handling, of course. You slash right along its faceplate visor, completely shattering it and briefly exposing the Tholian's face. You so damage the suit along this particular way that any countermeasure it has to shield its face fails, and it instantly, as its limbs wave about in an uncontrolled jitter, just absolute spasming, its face begins to cool down, solidify, and crackle as it falls back, uh, partly shattered. The sense of light or energy about it, any sort of vibrance that the live Tholian has oscillating, just steadily leaving. It would be the equivalent of having your own, or you being in a spacesuit while in vacuum and having your own helmet cut open, and just the loss of pressure, oxygen, all of that, inflicting a cold, horrible death. Seeing the sheer brutality of this, the third remaining Tholian, uh, they are going to try and take one desperate shot in your direction. And let's see if they can get a shot. I guess they will try and take an aim at the center of the party, which will give them the shot on Alesh. So this will be a difficulty 3 roll for them. And
Plus, I have that effect that.
Yep. Well, that's why it's a difficulty 3 roll, and they don't score any successes, so the shot is going to go wild as they just start firing, trying to neutralize the Klingon party, but you have caught them utterly by surprise, and the turn now goes back to you.
Okay, my turn. Let's see.
There's only one left now, right?
Yeah, I'll fire on the one. I'll fire on the one that's left. Now I don't see that I have a phaser rifle. I just have the Corinne Disruptor. Is that it?
Oh,
Is that the phaser rifle?
You should have the disruptor rifle properly. I think that since we didn't quite get things right on that sheet there, let me fix that for you. So
okay, I'll let you do that.
Disruptor rifle. 4 challenge dice there, and it is 2-handed. So that should be fixed now.
Okay, let me go in.
So this is a control and security roll with a difficulty of 2 to hit them.
Okay. Control and security with a difficulty of 2. I will take 1 momentum, and I will go ahead and shoot this guy.
Ooh.
That is 1 success with a complication, so it will not succeed. But I will ask regarding the complication, would you prefer narrative, or would you prefer to give the GM threat?
I'll take narrative.
Very well. So you take aim at the last of the Tholians there, but your shot, alas, goes wild, and you are unable to neutralize them. Amidst all the confusion, you see it make an unusual move with some of its free sort of arm-like limbs, seemingly tapping something on its suit, and there is high-pitched chatter that is emitted. Mere moments later, there is the sound of mechanical whirring, and Saral, you hear signs of something that you recall maybe occasionally being threatened, but nobody was ever stupid enough to try necessarily. As 2 emplacements pop up, like down from the ceiling of the area, and you now see what appear to be 2 automated guns popping down and beginning to take aim at you. So that will be the next thing to act here. I think that one of them is going to take aim at Shira here, or Shira. So that is control plus security. It is as it sprays down bolts of energy. None of them are able to make contact with you. But they are both just letting loose with a furious barrage of disruptor bolts that are basically trying to blanket or spray over the area. So the turn goes back to you guys now.
Does Saral have a melee weapon or a blaster weapon? I forget.
That he had
Like
both.
ranged. Okay.
Yeah, I believe I still have to make those weapons for you because we hadn't gotten that far, but let's see here. I'll replace that.
How far is the last surviving Tholian away?
Far enough that he's still in easy range for your rifle.
Is he in?
He's not like an easy grapple range. He's kind of up the stairs, basically.
That's disappointing.
I mean, you could, if you want to try and sprint, you could always close the distance with him and then spend the momentum to buy a swift task, which would allow you to try and grapple him. Tactical options.
Is that what is but grapple isn't just like a melee attack.
It is a melee attack. It's a daring and security roll, and basically, instead of like the way it works is that instead of rolling for damage, you keep the character basically like restrict them from moving.
But I can't use a swift action to make an attack. Can only do a grapple.
You could perform a different attack if you wish. I was just spitting out options there. You could, of course, if you want to go in for the melee, then you can still do, I think for the sprint, it's fitness and security. in most cases that would be difficulty 0, but because of the disruptor turret fire, I'll say it goes up to difficulty 1, and I'd probably spend the threat to increase the complication range a little. But it's still something that you could do and then spend to buy the swift task and conduct the attack.
How much is the swift task? 1 momentum?
I believe swift task is actually 2, and it is the difficulty of your task increases slightly when you do that. So let's say that you wanted to run up and perform a melee action of some sort. You would attempt the first task at normal difficulty. Then when you go into the attack, the way I've run this is that whatever the Tholian rolls, you have to roll one, you have to roll one better in order to consider yourself tied, because you're still taking the initiative, basically.
Fair, and I think I just want to charge him because that's something I will never get to do with Soral. I feel. So
enough.
there's just something primal breaks through in Thrall, and he just growls and charges the last
Okay.
Tholian.
So give me a daring and fitness roll, difficulty 1, and I am increasing your complication range by 1 by spending a point of threat.
Can I argue for a focus martial arts or small unit tactics?
I would definitely accept that.
Cool. You know what? Security, yeah, bolt security. I'm buying another die with threat.
Very good. The GM will accept the threat.
Oh my god.
So that is 1
I'm
success.
gonna re-roll that one.
I think you can actually re-roll the entire pool.
I'm gonna roll both zeros. I think that's the play here.
Fair enough.
Oh,
I had
thank
it
God.
slightly better.
All
I
right.
was hoping.
That was just to running up, so I create 2 momentum. That's at least
Yep.
at least something.
That you do.
And you know what? I spent those 2 momentum immediately to just try and tear him apart with my big, strong gaunt claws.
Okay, this will be daring and security. It is a contested roll, and you must score one greater than the Tholian in order to win this.
Well, since I have to go high, do you want to roll first, or do I have to roll first?
I can go ahead and roll for him. But if there's anything you want to do to spend, I'd say go ahead and do so now.
Well, I'm gonna use bolt security again.
Okay. I'm going to take that point of threat and spend it to buy an additional die for him as well. Or the last Tholian.
Yeah, it feels about right.
Okay. But you are not, you do not have to suffer the complication at this point, or the increased complication range.
That's something.
So
So what do I have to beat?
you must beat,
Oof.
you need to score, it looks like, 4 successes in order to beat.
That's a good roll with just an 11.
4 successes, yeah. Okay.
Don't do it.
Natural 1 that the Tholian rolled there.
Security, daring.
All 3. You could
I
re-roll one
need
of those to try to get a.
If I'm re-rolling, I should re-roll all of them, I think.
Ooh.
There is one alternative I would be willing to drop for you. If you wanted to create the advantage, or make the appropriate spend, which is 2 either threat given to the GM or momentum paid in order to do so, I would allow you in this case to say that Soral's unique fury allows him to negate the particular complication. I suppose really the determination is the most effective one, but I will not force you to spend it in this case. This is purely your decision here, Soral.
So if I were to spend the determination, I would still hit because I don't get I need a +1 for swift action.
Basically.
Oh, what
I
do
would
I
allow you
gamble
to
on a
negate
roll?
them.
What does the room think?
Well, you were using bold security for the reroll.
That's the thing. Because I think if I reroll, I should reroll all of them.
Yeah. I.
You know what?
Do
Shot.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's 4.
Oh, nicely played. So that will
Glory
give.
and death.
Yep. So, Saral, you are going up to deal a melee attack to this Tholian here. Tell me, how are you going about that?
It depends what I roll, I would say, like how good the damage is.
Well, you have to pick whether you are going with the batleth.
Oh, claws.
Or
I said
the...
claws. I said claws, so that's
right.
what I stay with.
Okay, then roll your claws and let's see.
What is do Gorns get anything for claws, or is it just an unarmed attack with like 1 damage?
Oh, I think that I'd set. I think we have a specific claws damage here, but let me go in and take a look here. So.
I wrote claws where there was armed strike before.
Yep, I think that. Tell you what, I will give you the slight bonus of Vicious 2 as well as Intense and Knockdown. You are an angry boy.
You don't know what you're doing. So I just this one because I have. Let me check. I have brute force as a Gorn talent. I get wishes 1, so I think that's wishes 3.
Oh, I was just upgrading the brute force in this particular case, so I'm.
I mean, 1 is a talent. I don't know. It's a lot of points anyway.
Yeah.
Uh.
So that would make each of them worth 3 though, or each effect. Yes. So.
Yeah. So I would just like ram both claws in the exoskeleton and just crack it open like an oyster.
Spectacular. You find the perfect seam in the gear, your vision giving you the impeccable sense of where the weakest parts of the joints and like carapace are, and you manage to, with some effort and with some strain, you manage to rip open the suit, exposing the Tholian, its limbs waving and even trying to slash at you a little bit, but coming up just short as it crackles and freezes. Its fate, it just implacable to determine the expression, but the energy it gives would, or the vibe of a sort, I suppose you could say, would be one of absolute terror as it just fizzles and crackles and dies.
Yeah, and there's just this massive roar at the same time of effort and fury.
Yep. Well, with the command, with nothing feeding it commands, the turrets have momentarily ceased fire.
So has the token gotten bigger again, Bosral?
Just seems to get bigger and bigger all the time, doesn't it?
Yeah, I get taller with rage. I think that was the Gorn thing, right?
There was a mushroom in the amidst the gach that he consumed.
Ah, yes.
So, yeah, with that, Saral, you have managed to defeat. You've managed to tear open the last of them, and you have the. You've for the moment. You have the you are all out of combat.
Also, the turrets power down because they don't receive any commands more?
Yes, I was basically
Ooh.
setting it up for a round by round basis, where it was going to activate.
I was lucky I was ignoring them.
had his disruptors like trained on one of the turrets and is visibly sad that he is no longer able to shoot one.
Oh, you may still get the chance.
Can I just shoot one anyway?
Go right ahead. Control and security, please.
Oh well, this is very Patel.
That's your damage.
Oh, okay, that's the wrong one then. So control security. Boop doop. There you go.
It misses and only causes glancing damage.
Yep. Again, very Patel.
Yep. So yeah, Captain, the battle here seems to have been very brief. But yeah, you have managed to overcome the Tholian threat in this chamber.
We
She
need to
just
keep
sniffs-
moving.
She just nods, sniffs the air. Let's keep moving. Where were they looking?
Well, I'll lead them to the excavation area.
Okay, so before you proceed any further, Thrall, you have two options as you take them up the stairs. There is basically a mining cart system that is technically pressurized, but not the most comfortable thing in the world. It will take some jury rigging from an engineer in order to get you along, but that should be a fairly efficient way to get to the core mining site. The alternative would be to basically try to take the rocky tunnels and potentially engage in the slave quarters or prisoners' quarters that the Tholians have kept.
I mean, just a picture of 5 angry Klingons and an oversized Gorn crammed into a rickety minecart. I mean, we have to.
Yeah, I agree.
We just have
Yeah, pretty
to.
much.
Yeah, I'm in favour of that.
There's elevator music playing. There's
Yep.
I'm gonna just nab a bit of the broken Folian suits, just for
Trophies.
trophy. Yeah.
Very good. All right. So the 6 of you proceed in. Is there anything else you want to try to scrounge from the battlefield? Anything of interest to you?
I'm going to try to quickly search to find anything of like computer pads or things of potential usefulness for this raid. If not, some value to be had.
Patel's definitely scrounging for tech. Anything that looks more advanced than what he has now.
Okay. You may give me a quick insight and security roll.
Is there like a computer console?
Or engineering, rather, too. And yes, I will say there is such a console around.
Well,
Oh,
Then I would.
Oh.
Ouch. Then I would go to the console and just get some general information about what to expect.
Okay.
I would say you can take my thing there as threat.
Very well. Patel scores no successes with a complication for which she is giving the GM threat. And then the, let's see,
the
Captain,
captain also.
yeah. You pour over what remains of the Tholians, but the equipment is very thoroughly smashed. There's not really anything that you can discern here. A lot of the containers that are about seem to just be the sparsest of items in order to sustain the very basic life functions of the prisoners in this outpost. The Tholians were not particularly kind to their captives.
Fun. All right. Moving forward.
Yeah. Do I get some general information what to expect going forward from the computer terminal?
Let's see. Sorry, I missed your insight roll there.
Yeah. I didn't roll. I was just asking, but I can roll.
Oh yeah,
obviously.
yeah. I'll ask. Just give me one insight and engineering roll.
Can I
Difficulty
argue
one.
for inside security?
I will allow that. Yes.
And would you allow the focus security systems?
I will allow that. Yes.
And you know what? Since we're dying anyway, I'm going to buy another die with threat. It's like, God damn it, rolling those 2 zeros. That's way better.
Okay, 4 successes. So
How was the difficulty?
the difficulty I set to only 1, as you have had
Oh,
prior
fantastic.
experience here. So this does
Um,
give you 3 points of momentum back.
Can I spend 2 of those points immediately on either an advantage or an action to send a rescue code to the Gorn hegemony?
Absolutely.
Like a pick me up, I'm in distress?
Yes.
Excellent.
So that subspace signal is going to go out to the crew, or rather, is going to go out as quickly as possible here. And yes, you broadcast. So you broadcast that, uh, and yeah, with that, let's see. You also pick up from the internal sensors. It looks as though the Tholians that were. You get a look at external and internal sensors. The Tholians that were out engaging the other vessel, or like the Cosmozoa, they seem to be dealing with quite a bit of a mess. It's hard to discern, but there are like subspace readings that very much suggest that there's all manner of trouble. Um, what is the other component here? The Tholians that are near the station, or rather that were on the isolated patrol. They are trying to engage the Ajish, but they are being very sort of standoffish. It seems as though they're not quite equipped to go for the full engagement, basically.
So a lot of chaos. Excellent.
Yes, yes, absolutely. All right, so I hear the consensus is everybody's piling into the mining cart.
Yeah.
Alesh, I'm going to give you 2 options. You may take an extended task, which will be, I think, roughly work track of 12, difficulty of 3, control and engineering roles. Um, and this will basically give you slow and steady progress. The other option is to take a difficulty 3, but I will be spending threat for high complication range. Basically, 1 task to zoom down the tunnel and make it there very quickly. I do not
We
plan
need
on
that
killing any.
ladder.
I don't plan on killing anybody with it, but just know complications will abound if you take that option. What is to your preference?
I'll take option number 2, Alex Trebek. Okay. Control and what? Engineering?
For the risky option, it's actually daring plus engineering.
Even better.
All right, and I am going to spend.
And I'm going to spend a momentum.
All right, and I am going to use.
I have reverse engineering. Can I use that to help me?
Reverse engineering. I think that would help with your little jury rigging task here. I am going to spend 3 points of threat to increase the complication range up to 3.
Okay.
Where did he get all this threat from?
This is
I don't
just,
know. We're giving it to him.
it's just the it's.
I
This
think the
is just
GM's cheating.
it's the Eric Andre meme. Who gave him this threat?
We all. Hey, here it comes.
All right, that is 2 successes, so that's not quite there. Would you like to succeed at cost?
Absolutely.
All right. So that will give you the success you need. It will involve taking a complication. I will, however, allow you the opportunity to decide, is that complication narrative or threat?
Threat. This is a Klingon game.
Very good. I am using that opportunity to reclaim all of my threat, all of the threat that I spent for that.
Okay.
So with that, you cram yourselves into the just absolutely cramped and condensed version of this cart. You managed to at least find an empty one where the Tholians had removed all the useless ore and detritus from their operations, and you basically hotwire the probe in such a way as to zoom down the tunnel, so everyone piles in, and it's very cramped conditions. Aleska, or rather Alesh, you have things now set to where it is rigged to go when you push the button on your communicator.
Okay. If we're ready to go and everybody's on, keeping in motion is a key aspect of battle. So we go.
All right. So that is going to, it's going to set off, and you are quickly going to learn this thing doesn't have inertial dampeners, so everybody gets squished against each other for a moment with the sudden, just rapid onset of speed as the vessel just takes off and moves further and further, like faster and faster. The cart also trembles likewise as you feel the sheer speed from the object encounter every little ricket or uneven divot on this pad. It seems to have been something that is actually mechanically built into place as opposed to with a repulsor lift. An unusual choice for the Tholians, and something they generally wouldn't do without good reason. But the speed picks up, and very shortly you have crossed the halfway mark. Zooming on down to the core site, it quickly occurs to you that the speed is picked up almost too aggressively and that you need to begin shunting the speed down. You feel as if the gear, or like whatever mechanisms are in place, begin to grind as you halt it. And indeed, it doesn't quite stop when you want it to. There's a terrible recoil as all of you are like as it hits the end of the track, and while it manages to stay on it, there is definitely a sudden thrust forward as all of you are shunted about, kind of squished to the opposite end. So
Remind me not to let you pilot the Aegis.
Noted.
Get off, she says as she like shoves Patel off.
He collapses across the side and
Dachne is just crushed by Sral.
Our first death.
Well, he's not dead, but Dachne, you might need a moment to breathe here.
Yeah.
So
he's got enough redundant organs. He'll be fine.
yeah, that's why you always go on these types of roller coasters with the Brack Lull, everybody.
That's right.
All right, so let's see here. You find your way out of the chamber and into the area which seems to, which, much to your chagrin, appears to have a very large number of Tholians gathered around, and in particular gathered around quite a sizable object. I'm going to say at the start of this scene, and it requires the common accession of the crew here, there is an advantage I am prepared to give you if you are prepared to spend the threat in order to do it.
Which
Yeah,
is
sure.
The threat, or the advantage, is going to be a mystery.
I like mysteries.
Yeah,
sure.
it
Go
does.
for it.
All right. Everyone else agree to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yep.
All right. So as you come out, you see an array of Tholians around what appears to be a small pod-like object. What appears to be, honestly, in some ways, it would look to be a shuttlecraft of some sort, or the equivalent type of small craft. It is something that looks very worn, but thoroughly unrecognizable, and seems to not be emitting any power. It is, however, hovering above the ground with no seeming emission or active anything around it. The only machinery near it appears to be a Tholian device which is attempting to basically fire a laser into a component of it. The Tholians that are around the chamber and have all gathered. While there are 6 portrayed on screen here, there are easily dozens of them that are taking other positions. One of them broadcasts, "Identify yourself," in a stilted robotic voice that is translated to Klingon.
Wait, one of those was aimed at us, or that was aiming at the shuttle?
It was aimed at you as you have entered the chamber. They are aware of your presence and have taken aim at you, basically.
We are the conquerors of your new base. We have our ship overhead, ready to turn this into dust. If you value what is left, the remainders of your lives, you will back away now.
Your request is unacceptable. You will be imprisoned or incapacitated, depending upon your decisions here.
I cue the communicator and I say, Aegis, I want you full disruptors on this location.
Yes, Captain. We will be ready. And as this happens, they say, "Please reconsider. This is of great value to the Tholian Assembly, and could be made of great shared value to the Empire if it came to it. Our collective destinies may depend upon what we do here."
You have 30 seconds to explain.
Your request we will comply with to explain. This being necessary, and as they begin to start this, the pod seems to emit a bright blue light that flashes out, and it spreads in a wave around the chamber, engulfing most of it, but stopping just shy of where you are. And in that single instant, every single Tholian in the chamber disappears. And so for a moment did the pod.
It's back. Oh, and it's smaller.
But then it reappears.
It reappears and angles itself.
Yep. And out from the top where the former device had been located, it actually pops. Something pops open as if there were a compartment, and out from that.
In Klingon, I raise my hand to my crew and say, in Klingon, ready but do not fire.
I'll aim my disruptor towards the hatch. Or
Okay.
whatever's opening.
Yep. All right. So out of that pops this figure. Oh, good. The Tholians are gone. Well, that's really. What the? Klingons and Gorn. Oh, right. 25th century, right? Yes. Wait, no, that's not right. That coordinate should have been off. Let's see. Primitive honor-based culture. You great warrior types. You will help me. You will do so for honor. You will help me make this go. For honor.
I could shoot him at any point, Captain.
For the Empire and for your own safety, I agree, Mr. She says, so it looks fairly human, right? Humanish.
he has facial ridges of some sort that you don't recognize.
All right. Just say for the Empire, for the glory of the Empire, and the glory of myself, and your own safety, I think it'd be best if you come with us.
Oh, I can't go with you. I need to go. I need to go back out there. I've caused a dreadful mistake here, and I need to fix it very quickly. Otherwise, that's things are going to be quite bad. Anyway,
Explain.
oh, let's see. Sorry. How do I explain it to primitives like you?
Careful.
Again,
with your
at any
words.
point I could shoot him.
Okay. Basically, I come from a different time from you, and I may have broken it, and at least I think I do. I don't actually know. But I need to go back to my time and go back through this, the anomaly that you may have seen in order to, stop time from being broken.
As he's rambling, she'll just mutter battle con, essentially, in Klingon, of maim, do not kill. I.e., capture. Capture, not kill.
Capture, do not kill. Okay.
All right, so could you just keep the Tholians away from here for just a little bit while I fix what I need to do here? Please, I really need to go.
We will give it some consideration. Tactical officer, she says with a grin.
Is that blue? You said the Tholians vanished in a blue light. Is that thing still there in front of
No,
us?
it
or
was
is
just
all
like
gone?
it was a blue flash that emanated from the ship, and the Tholians disappeared before this figure popped out of basically a compartment.
While all of the talking is happening, can I have done like a scan?
Go right ahead. What are you trying to scan for?
I just wanted to see, like, is there any like particle residue or anything from whatever this like blue light explosion was?
Reason and science difficulty 4.
Particle physics.
That would apply.
What a fucking nerd.
Can I blow the entire momentum on it? Do we want to know the
Sure.
speed of time
Go
travel?
for it.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, shit.
Oh, Patel has the secret of time travel.
Yeah, Patel, this very easily, you happen to run both the, you happen to run with, that is 6 successes there, so you happen to earn back, so let's see, that'll earn you back 2 momentum. But yeah, you pick up a lot of things. Everything from the, it seems that the field it's a particle that has been theorized in the Klingon scientific community such that it is, but not one that's that anyone's been able to prove with any practicality. For some reason, there's a strong influence among the great houses to restrict time travel research of any kind, deeming it as unworthy of pursuit. But this would be a theoretical particle which would loosely translate to a chronoton. A burst of that which may have been somehow jury-rigged to most malicious and effective intent. And it seems as though the ship may be giving off signs of these particles, as if it in itself is capable of generating them. You may not understand the full nature of the technology that's ahead of you, but you can also discern, for one, the material is more advanced than anything seen on any ship of this era. The potential for weapons technology, the types of energy fields that you are picking up just vaguely, and the fact that it's mostly immune to conventional EM signatures, which is the one thing you're not getting a read for the most part on. Capturing this ship would be a boon for the Empire.
So, long story short, my scanner recorded a treasure trove of information.
Yes.
Oh yes.
You would need the ship to fully understand it, but it's definitely what you would need to help. Or it underscores how valuable this prize is. Shira, just because the captain gave you an order there, how are you interpreting that? Are you shooting to maim, or?
Yeah, I'll shoot to maim and then let Dagnek sort out the consequences.
Okay, I am going to spend 3 threat to increase your complication range.
Okie dokie, that's nice, lovely, good. Well, I will of course. It keeps moving around. I will of course take the aim minor action. Reduce the difficulty by 1 because of Deadeye
Do you have a
Marksman.
value? Because we're.
I
we're
will spend a. I will take a extra dice with a point of threat. And let's see. And yeah, I'll spend my determination to give myself an automatic success.
Critical success. Okay, which
Yes.
value are you tapping, perchance?
I'm gonna go with Proud Klingon Warrior.
Well.
Yeah.
Okay, so go right ahead.
Roll. I'm gonna re-roll those 2.
Okay.
Actually, I've already hit, haven't I? Because it's a difficulty.
But it can't hurt to take it.
There you go. Extra success. That's 4 successes.
Okay. You took bold then, so I would get a threat back. I'll immediately spend that along with 1 more, just to create a complication anyway. Your disruptor rifle hits, and the moment it does, he just, it's as if his own outline begins to just tremble. It's like, what have you done? And he just shatters.
That's not the usual effect for one of these weapons.
Yep. Lyril, your tactical officer, seems to have just killed your prize, or at least the flesh part of your prize here.
What did I say? She says in Klingon.
That's not the effect from one of these weapons, Captain. Something else happened there. That shouldn't have been enough to kill him outright.
We'll talk about this later.
I'm sure we will.
And he reappears.
He's back.
You animals! You've destroyed the causality chain. Now I'm not going to exist for much longer, and if I can't do that, then time is going to be. Go ahead. You're going to take a shot against him?
Yeah.
Oh, I should draw 3. I need to draw 3 momentum. There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Trying to do the job that I ordered the tactical officer to do. All right. I'll spend a momentum to increase my die by 1. Close quarters combat.
Spend a threat to increase complication range by 1.
Okay. And let's. I'll even use a value, which is I start fights and finish them. To get a critical success, let's go. I'll re-roll those 2 dice. Giving you a threat, I spend those 2 dice with Warrior Spirit.
Okay. I will take that.
There we go.
And I'm going to expend the incoming threat along with 1 more to create a virtually identical complication. As you hit again, and he begins to shimmer once more. You don't get what you did. I can't stop the core now. It's all going to implode. And he dematerializes once more.
I thought we were supposed to be capturing him.
She just gives like a Klingon scowl.
No. Patel, you take notice that those chronoton readings are steadily increasing.
Ooh, this I'm not entirely sure what this means, but I do know that it does not look good. Captain, we should be leaving.
Any way we can salvage any of this?
There does not appear to be time.
Time. Yeah, chronological.
And to answer your question, yes, and I will give you latitude to decide what is around. There's residual Tholian equipment and what you carry with you.
All right, I will signal the Ajis, Captain to Ajis. I want you to beam in ourselves and every other material but the vessel in front of us, and then take us into our.
Captain. We're engaged in battle. The Cosmozoa joined too. We're taking strange shapes. And the channel is very difficult. Other ships entering system cannot identify. Light lines similar to Thrall.
Get back to the planetoid. Pick us up. And as much as you can. We're getting out of here.
Yep. Thrall, was there anything that you wanted to do? Are you there?
Yes, I'm thinking. There isn't really
Don't
much
be
I
silly.
can
Gone,
do.
don't think.
Okay. What I'm gonna do is, since the Klingons are turning to leave, and I'm just turning to them and say, "I'm staying," and grips this neck and just rips the collar off and throws it at their feet.
Yes, as
Probably should've
Alesh's
got a better
complication
collar.
from earlier in Acts, the collar was easy for him to rip off at any point.
I think we'll revise the design of the shot collar next time, Alesh.
Fine. Stay here if you like in the implosion. You've done a warrior's duty, she says.
Yes, you should hurry. My people are coming.
She'll gesture to the crew, and we're just gonna grab as much as we can and get the fuck out of here.
All right.
And I accept my destiny to become Gorn Prime.
So Thrall takes his steps towards the chamber, and you wind up only being able to pull maybe a hand. The rest of the crew wind up only pulling a handful of maybe bits of gear from the off of like the Tholians, or like data pads and whatnot. The rest of you move to conduct the transport in order to get out of here. As one final roll, Alesh, control and engineering, and I am spending what remains of my threat. I realized the other person should have given me menacing 1, and I had forgotten about that. So as the traveler, the last traveler, try to make him disappear, make the ship go that way. Yes, we like things that make the ship go. All right.
Okay, what do you need from me?
Control and engineering, and I am
We've
spending.
got a ton of momentum for you to spend on this.
Yeah, you
roll.
can get full three dice if
And
you
I am-
want.
Okay, I'm gonna
I'm
take
spending.
a full.
Go ahead.
I can have enough for a full 3 extra dice.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
With the incoming threat from the menacing and the remaining 2, I'm spending that to increase the complication range for the roll up to 3.
Any of my focuses apply?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay. Here it goes.
Okay, that is 3 successes. And the ship will also assist with structure and engineering. I'm conducting that roll now. Alesh, you did not amend the complication range there because those zeros are an 18 and a 19.
Do you have your determination to spend?
I think she spent it earlier.
I'd like to blow a value. I'm sorry, I did not click on the range. I thought you were doing that. Do you want me to re-roll?
I will not have you re-roll on this. And indeed, I'm not sure what would be the value you would challenge here because you'd always have an exit strategy is like part of this. That being said, I will say you do successfully beam to the ship.
Okay.
What ship?
The Ajish. But anyway, yeah. You get one final call from the ship as the transporter's ready. Captain, not sure it's safe to beam.
Do it.
Engaging transporters! And as you beam aboard, the area around you dematerializes, and in a moment, after the curtain of light takes you and the orange light, you see the transporter room, you see the operator standing there engaging the transporters, and while you are left perfectly in place, everything around the room begins to explode. The transporter operator buffeted up into the ceiling and then back down on the console, his head catching on it and him falling like completely dead into the ground. Smoke billowing out, and from the outside, as an unusual battle between Tholian, Gorn, what appear to be jellyfish-like cosmozoa, and amidst all of it, a Klingon bird of prey that has taken a hit to its engines, set to crash in towards the asteroid belt. A great bloom of blue encompasses the entire field. And that is where we will end tonight's game. Tonight's one-shot.
Ooh.
Yay.
Yeah, so, yeah, I hope you all enjoyed our little Death Before Dishonor one-shot here, as we leave them to an all but uncertain fate. For those watching in the archive, this is where we are going to leave you now, but we will be back next week with another adventure with Star Trek Adventures Aegis. Thank you for joining us for our April Fool's Day adventure. We'll catch you later.